Welcome to Something to Say, where we bring voices from diverse backgrounds who will share their unique stories and perspectives on finding their passion and provide insights on how you can find yours. Join us as host Greg DeShields guides us through this enlightening journey.
Welcome to Season 2 of Something to Say podcast, a unique platform that amplifies the voices of individuals from diverse backgrounds as they share their passion and purpose. I'm your host, Greg DeShields, and I'm thrilled to bring you another inspiring episode. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are honored to speak with Denella Ri'chard, executive producer, Traveling with Denella Ri'chard. Denella is the host and executive producer of the award-winning, nationally syndicated, and globally streaming television show, Traveling with Denella Ri'chard, which won the 2024 Gold Television Telly Award in History and the 2025 Travel Weekly Magellan Gold Award. Denella was recognized by the International Hospitality Institute and Global Hospitality Magazine as one of the 100 most influential people in the U.S. hospitality and travel industry for 2023. With her unique blend of Southern charm, humor, and hospitality, Denella Ri'chard is a world traveler, TV personality, travel industry executive, travel lifestyle influencer, and entrepreneur. Her uncanny ability to connect with people at all levels inspires them to experience the beauty and the abundant culture that travel offers. Yet, beneath her powerful influence, she is both authentic and accessible. Her ability to engage her audience in life-changing experiences allows them to walk in the footprint of her journey. Denella is a sought-after travel expert and thought leader, often speaking at conferences on the future of travel, women in travel, and diversity in travel. She previously held leadership positions with publicly traded billion-dollar travel companies such as Hilton Worldwide, Carnival Corporation, and Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings. So, welcome, Denella. I am so excited that you are going to be featured on a Something to Say podcast. And I am so anxious to dive into everything about travel. But I did want to ask you before we begin, your name is spelt with an apostrophe after RI. So can you give our audience some clarification in the pronunciation as well as why it's written that way?
Absolutely. So you said my first name perfectly, which is Denella, not Daniela. And for people that need a cue to remember it, just think vanilla and put a D. It's Denella. And then that R-I apostrophe C-H-A-R-D. No, it's not Richard. I'm a Louisiana Creole girl. It's Richard. So
Richard. Oh, awesome.
yes.
Well, I've had the pleasure to be on stage with you a number of times during a panel discussion, and I'm thrilled to have the opportunity today to talk about a lot of the exciting places that you've been to and how you share those particular experiences. But here on Something to Say, we like to start things a little bit different. We like to engage first with some get to know you questions, just so that our audience will have a chance to get to know you from a better perspective. So, are you up for that?
I'm up for it. Let's do it, Greg.
All right. Well, so let's start way back. Well, maybe not way back, but anyway, what's your favorite childhood memory?
Oh, my favorite childhood memory. So, my mom grew up in a family in a city called Opelousas, Louisiana. It was 11 kids, seven of those were girls. And in the 1970s, one of my mom's sisters moved to Oakland, California. Oh my God, that was like big deal. None of the kids had ever left the city, let alone the state of Louisiana. So my aunt packed up her little gold Mustang and off she went to California. And that began the new adventure for us because after that, every summer we went to Oakland, we went to San Francisco. You get a chance to go to Fisherman's Wharf. And back then, I think it's still there, the Crooked Street. My aunt would pack us
Mhm.
up in that little gold Mustang and we go up and down the Crooked Street. I'm like, Auntie, Aunt Norma, take us up the Crooked Street again. And we do it over and over. So we had a ball just being in Northern California during that period of time. And that is probably one of my best childhood memories is being in California and some of the friends I met. And it was just something we look forward to every year. And I also, looking back, I know it's one of those moments that really changed my life and it really navigated my future, to be honest.
It's interesting as you say you're from Louisiana, yes?
Yes.
And you've got that southern charm and warmth that just radiates from you. But the fact that you spent time in Oakland, California, I mean, that is probably the most confident place, especially for people of color. So the idea that you have that southern charm and warmth, but you also have that Oakland confidence is really a very exciting mixture in a person. But it's great to hear that that was a great experience for you.
Yes, it was.
All right, so what was your biggest failure and what did you learn from that?
All right. So, you know, I had to learn about failure pretty early in life. And I think the most impactful moment was probably like third grade. Went to Catholic school and we used to have our annual fundraisers. You remember, Greg, world's finest chocolate
Oh,
fundraisers.
yes.
And oh my God, first prize was a bike. And I was determined I was going to sell enough chocolate to win that bike. Well, third grade year, I did not win that bike. I was the runner up. I
Oh,
got a TV, a
no.
black and white TV with the antenna. You remember that back
I
then?
do remember.
Okay. So, but I was determined that next year, fourth grade, because George Bailey won in third grade. So, fourth grade, I was determined to outsell George Bailey. Okay. It was going to happen. So, I recruited my mom to make sure she sold World's Finest Chocolates to everybody on her job. And I also went door to door selling chocolates. And sure enough, next year, fourth grade, I took home that bike.
All right.
So, that was my earliest
Wow.
memory of failure, but it's also, again, a defining moment. And the reason I say that is because I learned the art of sales. And sales is very important to any business. I don't care if you work for someone or if you go into business for yourself, you'd better master sales because that is the engine. That
That's
is the lifeblood. That's where the money comes from, right?
mhm.
Of any business. And it's interesting because more and more I am hearing the word sales come up. And you remember we went through a period, Greg, you can kind of remember growing up, people would say they were a salesperson and people would cringe.
Yes.
Or, they would think of a used car salesman and like, gritty, right?
Right.
But reality is, sales is where it's at. And if I had to tell any young person what is a life skill that they should master the art of sales. It is still relevant in today's society and today's world of high technology.
Absolutely. And I think the idea too, to your point, in the way that we engage in sales today, it is so relationship oriented that you can be on an airplane and feel as though that you are as anonymous as you can possibly be. But your next client could be next to you. And just by saying hello and building a relationship can start that sales process.
Exactly. That relationship building is so important. And again, when we think about today's world where sometimes people want to be more impersonal, you have those who've gotten used to just, being on their phone or in a computer. But like you said, that moment sitting next to someone on the airplane plane and just saying hello, that could be the next opportunity for you.
Absolutely. Wow. All right, so let's go a little bit deeper. This is one of our more popular questions. So I'm anxious to hear your response, but also there's a follow-up part to it as well. So if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would that be and why? But since you're from Louisiana, what would you eat?
Oh, all right, all right. So this is a good one. So when I was in 8th grade, I entered the social studies fair and I did my project on apartheid in South Africa because that was still taking place when I was in 8th grade. And I wrote all about, Nelson Mandela and Stephen Biko and the ANC. And I presented this, and not only did I win at my school, I also ended up winning the city competition, and I went on to the state of Louisiana, and I won the state competition talking about apartheid. Well, Nelson Mandela he was just always in my thoughts and in my heart because during this time, this man was still in prison, right? So I followed his journey. Nelson Mandela got out of prison. And around that time, I was in college at that point. And one of my professors came to me and he said, "Hey, you've really done well in my political science class. Syracuse University, because I was in school at Southern University, HBC, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But Syracuse had a program to study abroad. And he recommended me for this program in Zimbabwe, which is in Southern Africa. And I said, okay, Zimbabwe sounds very interesting. But wait a minute, isn't that next door to South Africa? And he was like, yeah, that got me.
Wow.
This was 1994 when I was presented with that opportunity. And Nelson Mandela had just become president. And I was like, my gosh, I can get to South Africa. If I get to Zimbabwe, I can go over to South Africa and finally be in the country where Mandela is from. So, sure enough, January 1995, I packed my bags and I moved to Harare, Zimbabwe.
Wow.
Full cultural immersion, fully living with a family there. And I had the most experience of my life. And at least 1 week in a month, as part of our program, our professor would take us over to South Africa where Nelson Mandela was president.
Wow.
It was just the most amazing time to be in South Africa, Southern Africa, Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, we had Robert Mugabe, which I'll pause on that because many people have many thoughts when you even say his name.
Mm.
But it was such an impactful time to live in Southern Africa and to be able to say that I was there when these iconic figures and people like Nelson Mandela, was president is pretty amazing. But what I loved about Mandela, even after 27 years of being in prison, he always still spoke about forgiveness.
Mm.
And I don't have his exact quote, but he said something to the extent if I carry hate, then I'm still in prison,
Mhm.
right? So I think and it's something that comes with maturity. It's something that comes with time that you really learn how to forgive. And that is just not worth it to carry grudges or resentment, no matter what somebody has done to you. It is just absolutely the most freeing, empowering gift that you can ever experience is the act and the art of forgiveness. And that's something I learned from Nelson Mandela. So if I had a chance to go back and sit with anyone, it's going to be Nelson Mandela.
For sure.
And honey, I'm going to cook him a gumbo, okay? We're going to have a real Louisiana gumbo. We're going to have a chicken and sausage. I'm talking about andouille sausage gumbo.
Oh God.
And he wants a little seafood, I'll throw in some crab legs too if he wants that. If he wants some shrimp, I'll put shrimp in his, but I can't eat shrimp because I'm allergic to it. But that is what Mandela and I would eat, and we would talk about forgiveness and how beautiful it is when you can choose to do that, even after people have taken you some of the most heartbreaking and hurting moments that you could ever endure.
Wow. Well, you have delivered a real powerful message. I think today people need to really take heed to your words and realize what forgiveness is and what it can do in lifting all of our boats and, quite honestly, helping us have a much more positive society. So, uh, big shout out to you for sharing that. And that's one of the reasons why we love to do the podcast, Something to Say, because we hear these incredible perspectives from individuals like yourself. Now, I do want to talk about your story, but I wanted to make sure I carved in some time to talk about the two new books that you have. So,
Mhm.
one is Traveling Around the World with Denella, coloring book, and then Traveling Grace, Travel and Prayer Journal. So, why don't you tell us about the two books?
Absolutely. So everyone listening can see there's a theme with Denella, travel, right?
Come on.
That's why they call me Traveling with Denella, right? Our weekly television series. But in addition to the television series, when I have opportunities to speak at conferences and different places, I always wanted to have something that I could leave behind, right? And I wanted something that not only adults could enjoy, but also children. So that's how the idea of the coloring book came about, is to have something for kids to help them not only inspire them to one day travel the world, but also to teach them about geography, iconic landmarks, cultures, greetings, all of that. So the coloring book was something very special for me, and that I felt was necessary to give to kids, quite frankly, right? To create, I should say, for children so they can learn about the world geography and have fun doing it in a colorful way.
Mm.
So that's the Traveling with Denella coloring book. And then there was the travel journal, Traveling Grace, which Traveling Grace is kind of named after my mom in a sense because her middle name is Grace. And that came about when I lived in Southern Africa. Whenever, every day I was in Zimbabwe or I'm in South Africa, I was journaling every moment. I mean, the details of, oh my God, the most amazing rainbow is in front of me. And the colors are orange and purple and yellow and all of this detail. Or the day we were in Soweto outside of Winnie Mandela's house saying, we love you, Winnie, like all those moments. Or the days when we were in Victoria Falls and the monkeys jumped on our table and took our scones, and biscuits over breakfast. That's over 20 years ago. And to be able to look at that journal and read my words and relive those most amazing moments is so impactful and special. So I created Traveling Grace as an intentional travel journal for people to capture the details of the places they go around the world so that they can relive it again and again, but then also so they could share it with others. Because let me tell you, when I got back to college that year, all my suite mates passed around my travel journal like it was a best-selling novel. Okay, I had to hunt it down and get it back, right? So it can be shared with others. And even truthfully, it's even a legacy piece.
It is.
Because when you're no longer here, the fact that your family can hold your travel journal in their hands and read your words and learn about your experiences in these amazing places around the world, Greg, is powerful.
It is. It really is. You know, both of your books are fantastic. And I love the coloring book because it's also a great way for children to engage with travel from a relaxation perspective, coloring while they're on vacation and enjoying the idea of using colors that might be very much in front of them at a part of the family trip when they are capturing that in a coloring book. But traveling with Grace, I have to tell you, you have said the most powerful thing. My mother, Dolores DeShields, was an avid journal person when we traveled. We annually did a trip from New Jersey to Florida, to all different parts of Florida, and she journaled like you would not believe. And when she passed, I had a series of journals over the course of about 6 or 7 years, and we compiled them all into one big journal. So we
Mhm.
endowed a scholarship for her at Temple University School of Sport, Tourism, and Hospitality Management. And in order to apply for the scholarship, students have to read the journal and then they
Wow.
have to respond to how they perceive the journal in today's travel experience. And it is, you're absolutely right. And it is a legacy piece. It's amazing to see people read that journal. So you're absolutely right. And I would
Wow.
encourage you to think about how you could build it in a curriculum where students have to read through your journal and look at it through their eyes of travel. And it's a great way to connect
Hey,
your passion and their future.
let's do it together and let's start with Temple.
That's a great idea. I will make the connection for you. So I do want to talk a little bit more about you and then we'll move into some industry questions. So, how big is your inner circle?
Whew, my inner circle is big. Okay. We've already established I'm from Louisiana. My mom is 11 of them. My dad, it was 13 of them. Between the two sides, I have close to 100 first cousins. And if any of them ring my phone right now, I know them by voice. They do not have to announce who they are. My aunts, my uncles, my cousins. I know them. That's my immediate family. We
That's
big.
amazing. It's
We big.
really big.
Okay. And I can proudly say that my circle of friends go back with me 30 years, even more. We're going to stop at 30, Greg. All right. And I still have a lot of close friends. A part of me would love to say, oh, my circle is small, but it's not. It really is not. But it's a big circle. I'm blessed to have a big circle of love,
Wow.
really, genuine, genuinely. I've had people say, but not everybody in your family gets along. Yeah, we pretty much all get along. We might have had a moment, but I can't think of anybody where they in any of either side of my family where I'd say someone doesn't speak
Wow.
or is mad at someone. If they're mad, it's not long. It's over something stupid. Like they took the last chicken leg in the gumbo or something.
Well, I think that would make just about anybody mad.
Right?
So, it's interesting you say that in terms of the size. And we've interviewed a lot of people. And to your point, a lot of people do talk about a small inner circle. However, there is a strong connection to family, certainly as people get older, how they really lean into family as a part of, or really the definer of their inner circle. But I've heard a phrase which I find so incredibly interesting. Someone calls it their front row, which I thought was a neat phrase.
Hmm.
In your case, we'd need a front row section because of the size for everyone.
Exactly.
But it is really a very interesting thing. All right, so I want to ask a couple of other questions. So, who has had the most influence in your life?
To be honest, it is my mom. So my dad died in a car accident and he was only 38 years old. I was 8 years old. My brother was barely 12 years old. He hadn't turned 12 yet. He was in an accident with my dad. Thank God my brother survived. He had serious injuries though, but he survived. But my mom found herself being a single mother at 36 years old. And my dad was just an amazing guy. Like he worked for Exxon. He was like first black man to become supervisor. He was over the whole welding division within the refinery. So he was one of these black corporate guys early on, in the 80s and had an amazing career. And my mom, while she also worked, she's always been independent. She's always worked at Southern University most of her
Mhm.
career. But when dad died, mom really had to step up and lead, and that she has. My mom has been a very amazing in that, especially the career path that I chose to like always have a suitcase packed and be on planes.
Yeah.
And, coming home in the holidays of 94 and stepping on a plane in 95 and hitting Africa and saying, I'm out here.
Mhm.
And as scared as she was, she supported it, you know, because like I said, Mandela, new president, apartheid just ending, 1995. I'm headed to Africa. And not only that, Rwanda was happening. And we were doing peace talks at my university in Harare, Zimbabwe with Hutus and Tutsis. So for my mom to have the courage and strength to support me in that decision to be in Southern Africa during that time of all this happening, and I'm having a footprint in these different areas and interactions was absolutely amazing. No matter where I decided to go in the world, eventually even living in Europe, my mom has always supported me. And she's just always been an amazing, strong woman. And she always made sure, and part of it is her fault, this travel thing, my Aunt Norma and her, because my mom was a tournament bowler. Okay. My mom was a
Oh,
bowling
wow.
champ. So and we weren't in California, we were in Vegas, Orlando, because she was bowling, right? And on top of that, she was an amazing seamstress. My mom made most of my clothes
Wow.
growing up. And I was also a pageant girl, so she would sew my gown, you know. So my mom was just she was just an amazing, amazing mom. And she still is today, thank God. I still have her. And she retired 20 something years ago from her full time job with Southern University. And she went back within 2 years and she's still there now.
Well, there are a lot of people who just do not like that R word. So she's
Right,
probably
exactly.
right.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not surprised. She sounds like an amazing lady, and clearly the influence that she's had on you has had a positive effect in terms of all your success. But I think the next question also gives a little more insight in terms of your ability to fight through challenges. So, when was the best year of your life, and when was the worst year of your life?
Yeah. So best year, I kind of gave that away. When I lived in Africa, man, living in
That
Africa
was
was
that's
amazing.
good.
It was just awesome because the US dollar went so far. So during the week we were studying, but on the weekends we were traveling. We were booking like whole suites at Miko's Hotel in Harare and throwing the baddest parties in all of Zimbabwe. Harare, like we were the cool kids. All my girlfriends, they went to Spelman, they went to Howard, a couple of them went to Duke, as well as Columbia. And like we were the original study abroad clique. Let me tell you, we were one of them. We were one of them. And we just had the time of our lives. I mean, I even remember hitchhiking sometimes in
Wow.
Zimbabwe because it was safe, right? I remember we didn't even lock the doors. Like I'd go down the street to my friends, visit them at their, host homes, and just walk to their houses in Zimbabwe. It was truly the most amazing experience of my life. If I could go back, and I don't say this often, I like being at the age where I am in life. There are not many times I say, oh, if I could go back and be younger. No, I like my age. But if I could go back to any time, best year of my life was living in Zimbabwe and spending a lot of time in
Wow.
South Africa in the 90s.
Wow. So, what would you say was the worst year of your life?
By far, worst year of my life was definitely year dad died
Mm.
because it was unexpected.
Hmm.
We were kids, like, and I was a daddy's girl. I love my daddy. I thought my daddy was the most handsome man in the world. And I was a little photocopy of him. I looked like him. Um, that was just a hard year because I remember being at home that evening and waiting for him to come home, and time was passing. And believe it or not, my dad was in a car accident 1 block from home. And I always say, God, if you would have gave him 30 seconds,
Mm.
30 seconds, he would have made it home. He was that close, right? So that will forever be me, my mom, my brother, the worst year of our life. Because to lose him, we never recovered from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Even as I watch you speak about your father, you can see that there's been like this incredible um, amount of influence that he has given.
Mhm.
Your face changes, your voice
Yeah.
changes. I lost my father when he was 42, and you think of that and like you're
Yeah.
so young. But the other side of it too, he'll always be this handsome young guy in your memory, which is
That is
also
true.
it's
Yeah.
really somewhat of a blessing because that's how
Yeah.
you always remember him. But it's clear that his influence still stays very much connected with you. So we know it's a tough question, but it's also very interesting to see how people are still very connected to that worst part of their life because it does contribute to who they are as a person today. But let's
Exactly.
shift our gears a little bit and let's talk about travel because we know you do that quite a bit. So I have two questions and I'm just really curious to get your feedback. So, what are some of the common misconceptions that you'd like to clear up about travel?
Oh my. Common misconception. Here is one. And I pause because it's interesting. This is what I will say. No matter where you go in the world, don't seek for them to change. Don't seek for them to roll out the red carpet just because you have arrived. Instead, seek to blend in, introduce yourself, make friends. It does not matter what the room looks like in terms of cultural or racial makeup. Do not limit yourself by that, right? Take the first step. Say hello, Greg, like you said at the beginning of the podcast, to that person sitting next to you on the plane. Say hello because you never know what doors that may open. So when traveling, do not limit yourself by hoping that you see other people who look like you when you arrive.
Hmm.
Because the more you travel, let me tell you,
Hmm.
especially if you look like me, you're gonna be the only one. And
That's going to be that.
it's okay.
Mhm.
It's okay. Because the biggest blessing for me is the portfolio of friends that I have from around the world. And we don't look anything alike. Some of us are from different religions, have different cultures. And guess what? At the end of the day, there are still things that we find commonality with, even if it's just food. We all like to eat. Guess what? We can have a good time eating.
It's also interesting as you say that though, because it also is about having the confidence in yourself to travel. Because to travel to new and different places is to about experience that journey and all of the unforeseen new experiences that you're going to have, but having the confidence to engage with them and that it shouldn't be the same. You're going because you want something different. So,
That's it. That's it.
all right. So, in this day and age of innovation and technology, and I guess the dreaded AI, what are some of the breakthroughs that you have found pretty exciting when you've traveled?
Oh, I love things like global entry.
I agree.
Right? You just speed through and now you just go to the kiosk and smile. You don't take out your passport, you just smile and they just wave you on through, right? Anybody that doesn't have global entry get it, especially if you're traveling internationally. I love the GPS like luggage tags and different things, right? So you can keep track of your bags. And for you parents out there, I don't have kids, but if you got kids like Denella who running off to study abroad at 18 and 19 and you worried sick, just put one of them GPS bag tags on their bag and you good. You're gonna be able to know where they at all times, you know?
See, this is
So
why I knew I wanted to interview you. You are the most enjoyable person to talk to.
yeah, little things like that, those are some of the innovations. But and of course AI. Hey, I mean, AI is awesome. I mean, use ChatGPT, I use Perplexity, I use it all. When planning a trip, looking for ideas, if I need to quickly find out about cultural nuances, whatever it is, type it in ChatGPT. That's your friend, right? Or Perplexity, or one of these other ones, and allow technology to be your partner, be your friend. Use it. Don't be afraid of it.
Well, excellent. All right, so I have a few more questions before we move to our final question. So I'd like you to maybe share a career changing moment when you had to unexpectedly pivot.
Oh, oh, yes, yes, yes. So, 2020, anybody remember that year?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So in 2020, I was an executive in the cruise industry. I worked for Carnival Corp with the Holland America brand. And of course, when that thing COVID-19 lurked its ugly head, the cruise industry was impacted more than any other industry out there. It was truly, truly impacted. And at that time, I ended up having to lay off a team of over 40 people.
Wow.
As I am feeling sorry for them, my president informs me that he was losing his job, and as I'm feeling sorry for him, then he tell me I'm losing my job too.
Wow.
So I had to lick my little wounds, and I really, my goal, because I was really on that career path in the cruise industry, and I look forward to the day of continuing on that track to one day reach it to the level of president, and be the first Black woman president of a cruise line. That was my dream. That was my goal. COVID-19 was a wipeout for me at that time in terms of the cruise industry. It was like, go sit down, rethink what's next. During that time of being at home on lockdown, borders were closed, nobody could travel, didn't go anywhere, right? The strongest desire I had was I have to inspire people that were going to travel the world again. This is going to be temporary. Yeah, a year has passed and we hadn't gone nowhere. We eaten bonbons, can't even go to church, can't go to the movies, can't go work out.
Mm.
But one day we're going to travel
Mm.
the world again. And so it was during that time that we launched Traveling with Denella as a television show on a streaming network. And it started to pick up traction. The trade started running. Hey, look at what Denella Ri'chard is doing, the show, Traveling with Denella. And then as borders started to open, Greg, this industry, we like a big family.
Mhm.
I started getting calls from people in the industry, from the tourism board in Jamaica and the Virgin Islands and, in Jackson, Mississippi. You name it, we started getting calls from all these people that were like, come, show them that they can travel again, right? And so I put together my film crew and we started traveling the world, man, and showing people that they could go all over. Initially it was a lot of Caribbean and US, and then we started going to Europe, Africa, and all these places. And as our travel expanded, our content expanded, so did our television broadcast reach. I mean, we are now on 50 stations every week
Wow.
throughout the United States. So we're in Miami, Atlanta, Seattle, New Orleans, you name it. We're on, depending on the market, we're on NBC or W or ABC, depending on the market, but every week we are on television. So that moment, COVID-19 forced me to pivot. And we created a television show as a way to inspire people that we travel the world again. But look at God, because 5 years later, we are award winning and we are nationally syndicated. And I have not had a desire to go back to the cruise industry
Wow.
just yet. However, we film on a lot of cruise ships, and I've been so blessed because the cruise industry has embraced me. We go on board, we film, and yeah, this that was the pivot.
Wow.
That was the
Well,
pivot.
you know, It's like they say though, and although we built in the word pivot though, for you, it's like they say, one door closes and another door of opportunity opens, and you clearly stepped up to it and you've done some fantastic work. And I have to admit, I have catched your show. I was in Atlanta and I was like, I think I know her. So, that was fantastic.
Thank you.
So, this question is often asked of individuals, and I am curious how it would be responded to by you. So, what piece of advice would you give your younger self?
Ooh, the piece of advice I would give my younger self, and this is going to come full circle
Mm,
actually, when we talked about this at the beginning, the Mandela lesson, forgive.
mm,
It is so much easier to forgive. It
mm,
makes life so much lighter.
mm,
I have had people through the years, whether it was personally or through career defining moments,
mm,
that have done some things that were hurtful and definitely an injustice.
mm.
And I could have harped on it, and I should have. And my mind said, don't let it go. Because what's the saying? There's a saying like, if you forget the past, you're bound to repeat it, whatever. People tell you, don't forget. Well, you don't have to forget, but it is so much easier to forgive. And especially in my career as as a black woman who came up through the work ranks. As I was coming up that ladder, there were some people that did not feel like I needed to be there. And when given the opportunity to knock me off, they did. Okay. And then when you have to be in the room with those people again, knowing the things they did, and to still be able to reach out to them in love and give them a hug and say, it's so nice to see you. It has done so much more for me than it ever could have done for them.
I agree. You are the second person who's shared that with me, and what it means in terms of how it lifts your own personal spirit and how you see life differently, because you don't
Yes.
carry that weight of hate, which, there's a lot that's been said about what that means physically to you and psychologically to you. So I agree. That's a fantastic way of providing advice. And hopefully, there's some young people who are listening who'll take it up as you've shared it today. And you've shared some really interesting quotes, but is there a favorite quote that you like and why?
So I do have a favorite quote, and it is in the travel journal, Traveling Grace. And it is, you may find my footprints in the sand, but my memories are coming with me.
Wow, that is wonderful. So, why do you like that one so much?
I like that because that's, one of the beautiful things about life, about travel. Like, I love that I always have my memory,
Hmm.
that like Greg, I'm sure there's been a favorite song where you've been in some amazing place and when that song comes on, it just transports you back,
Hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
That's the beautiful thing about memories,
Hmm.
My dad's been gone for over 40 something years, and our dads kind of died close in age, and you and I are kind of close in age. So that's a long time. But to have those memories, right?
They're pretty
It's
amazing.
priceless. It truly
Pretty,
is. It's
pretty.
priceless.
Years ago when I got into the industry, someone told me, they said, we're in the hospitality space. We do have great towels, which people do steal. They said, but we are in the experience business.
Yes.
Our success is based upon someone leaving in July and telling the story about their experience at our location in December around the Christmas tree.
Hmm.
That's really the test of success in terms of what we do and how we're able to create those memories, to your point, that just last a long time. So, all right. So, one last question, and then we'll move to our favorite something to say question. But on a little bit of a lighter note, what's your favorite animal and why?
Hmm. Oh, my favorite animal is a miniature pinscher. Okay.
Really?
I love, yes, I had a miniature pinscher for 17 years. His name was Jean Pierre. And Jean Pierre miniature pinchers are just so smart. They are highly intelligent dogs. They're so easy to train. And on top of that, they are so pompous, like and arrogant, and like they just know they look good. They know they smart. You know what I'm saying? They are just amazing, amazing dogs. I remember, one day I was on the phone with one of my girlfriends and we were talking about going to take, walk for fitness. Let's go walk around the neighborhood, get a few laps in. And Jean Pierre goes and gets his leash. I say, I'll be darned. You know what? You and this listening in on my conversation. Enough of that.
Wow.
But they are truly, truly amazing animals. So yeah, miniature pinscher dog is definitely one of my favorites. And another one, I might give you two.
Mhm.
I love cockatoos. Cockatoos
Really?
are just really, really, I mean, they are also amazing and smart. Those little birds. And I love to just, do things,
Yeah.
mimic with them and just have fun with them. So those are my two favorites. But Greg, we could go on and on because I love animals. I even love stingrays.
Oh,
I
man.
have been in Antigua and taken a stingray and just swam backwards with it
Wow.
on my chest.
Really?
Just gentle,
Yeah.
loving creatures. But I love animals. I'm like big animal fan.
Well, I'm glad you said you like birds. We had a Myers parrot, and we named him Oscar Mayer. And he lived for about he lived for about 36 years, if you can imagine. So,
Wait, you said what?
36 years.
36 years.
Yeah, and he was a very small bird, but to your point, birds have such an incredible personality. Like, we think dogs do, but I think birds have even a better personality in
Yes,
terms of their how they think and how they react to socializing. So,
exactly. Wow, 36 years. That blows me away.
yeah. All right, so listen, we've talked about a lot and I've taken a lot of your time. And now we've kind of gotten to the part of our podcast which we love. So we are entitled Something to Say. So we love to ask those who we're interviewing, what do you have to say?
What do I have to say? All I have to say is travel the world. Go as many places as you can and do it while you're young enough and healthy enough to enjoy it. I see way too many people who say, "Oh, when I retire, I'm gonna travel the world." Let me tell you, the reality is, if you wait until then, a lot of people have different physical ailments and this and that. You may not be able to travel like you want to. So go now. If I had to leave you with another quote, I would simply say, I always say, thank God I had the courage to go. Have the courage to go and see the world and enjoy every moment of it because I know I have. And I have been to 6 continents, still, actually, I think five. I still got a couple more to go.
Mm.
But I would say, hey, get out here, see the world, enjoy it because in every experience, it is only going to better and enhance the person that you are.
Wow.
It adds so much value to
Wow.
your life. Be a person that when you reach 100, you can truly say, I lived a life of no regret.
Well, Danella, thank you so much for sharing your passion and your insights. Your words have truly been informative, and I'm sure many of our listeners are, without any doubt, going to go out and travel. And maybe once again, before we sign off, if you could tell us the name of your two books.
Yes, my books are available on Amazon, and the travel journal is Traveling Grace, and the coloring book is Traveling Around the World with Denella. And also, Greg, if I can remind everyone, also, you can visit travelingwithdenella.com to find out where to watch us or my Instagram in the link tree. It'll tell you where you can find the show in your city on broadcast television, or we're also on Tubi. We're on Apple TV, and I could go on and on, GFN TV. And if you're in the military, we're on American Forces Network in 168 countries.
Wow. Well, once again, thank you so much. And just a big shout out to you. I did not know about Tubi until you told me that you were on Tubi. So
On Tubi too.
thank you so much, Denella.
All right. Thank you, Greg. It's been so much fun.
So, listeners, that's a wrap for this episode of Something to Say. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations with voices of individuals from diverse backgrounds sharing their passion. So, until next time, this has been Greg DeShields.
Thank you for tuning in to Something to Say. We trust you found some valuable insights and takeaways that can help you find your passion. Don't miss out on future episodes. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on your preferred platform. We value your feedback and suggestions, so let us know how we can serve you better. Keep the conversation going and stay inspired until we meet again. Take care and happy listening.